Hello, you fabulous examples of gorgeousness. How are we? Lesley, not quite enough road trip. Well, enough road trip, frankly. Hope everyone's okay. I have stopped at the services for a supply. Now, because I'm normally a tea drinker and a bit of a wuss, this is a half-shot latte. Cheers. Oh, strong. So I will shortly be back on the road. The sat-nav looks a bit weird because I'm at the services, but you can see that I am due to be at the hospital patient visiting just before 10. So I'll hopefully spend an hour there and then go on to meet my friends. Let's roll. Hello lovelies, how are we? I'm in the hotel room. Had good journeys here, went and saw the patient on the way, and they're doing well. They now have access to an electric wheelchair, so they drove to the cafe and I walked behind, all going well, so that's really good. Yep, then came to meet my friends here. I was only about 15 minutes late, so better than could have been expected. Early night for us all this evening because it's been a long day. You know, a lot of us have had travelling and that sort of thing, so. But really lovely day, so nice to see them. One of the people in this group doesn't have the best internet connection, so when we Zoom, theirs is the connection that normally falls out, and it's nice to talk to them and not have them go, as they just freeze for a moment. So tomorrow we're out and about. I will try and remember to take some footage tomorrow, but it's been a really lovely day and I'm going to go to bed. Take care everyone. Hello lovelies, how are we? It's Tuesday, I think. It's going to be one of those weeks when I'm not sure. Hope everyone's doing okay. I'm wearing one of my magpie tendencies, my heavily modified to add this chevron pattern. It's kind of a good weight for today, and I don't need a thick sweater, but I do need something more than just a shirt. So, fashion tips from Auntie Les. Hope everyone's okay. Feeling fairly fatigued after my lovely weekend. So, went on Saturday. I didn't take a lot of footage. Apologies, that doesn't make me a great podcaster, but hopefully it makes me a better friend because I was kind of in the moment rather than worrying about capturing it all. But I'll paint pictures with words. No, I won't, I'll just tell you about it. So we met at a garden centre, which has a very nice cafe. This is all going to be about food this weekend. And we had had a sandwich for lunch. Really nice place. Had a look around there afterwards. Lots of nice plants, a few nice bits and pieces. Then we went to the hotel where we were staying, which was just around the corner. It's kind of like 2 minutes away. and we kind of sat there all afternoon really. I was working on my crochet boxy, so that's seen some good progress this weekend. I am now, wherever I am, that far in, so that's good because it feels like I've got a lot done. Yeah, so we kind of sat around there. One was crocheting, that would be me, one was knitting, and we were kind of chatting, drinking tea, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, apologies for any noise. I have just given the builders their cups of tea, but they are still working, bless them, so apologies for any noise in the background. Then we had a dinner at the hotel, and again, you know, we were just chatting and laughing and being silly and serious in equal measure. Then yesterday, no, I don't mean yesterday, I mean the day before, which was Sunday. I told you it'd be like that. Cheers. My lovely friend Lynn drove, and we went to Henley in Arden, and I have footage of that. It's a very picturesque place. The weather wasn't on our side, but a very picturesque place to be. I'll put all the footage at the end because I think that will probably be easiest. And then if you're sensitive to motion, you may want to avoid it because I was kind of looking out the window with the camera. So yeah, so we went to Henley in Arden. The weather was a bit drizzly, so we found a nice tea shop, drank tea. Cake may have been involved. Then we went to a place called Ginny Ring, which is a craft centre. They have a few crafts going on. There's a pottery, there's kind of wood fretwork, there's a bakery there, a place called the Chocolate Deli. You have to try these things. And also they have a biggish shop. Oh, it's a jewellery maker. You know, there's various sort of crafts things going on. And then they have a shop which sells things from some of the makers around the site, plus some other local makers. And then they had a selection of kind of antiques and collectibles as well. So it was nice to wander around there. And they have a large cafe. So that's where we had lunch. And then again, back to the hotel. Sat around chatting, then had dinner. And then Monday morning, yesterday, brekkie, and then we went our way home. Like I say, mostly about food. A lot of food, a lot of tea and coffee, lot of chatting, and a fair bit of crochet. So, you know, what's not to like? So thank you ladies for a lovely weekend. It really was very good fun. Again, if you can hear the banging, apologies. And yeah, everyone got home safely, which was good. I came home via the hospital, so saw our patient again, who is continuing to do well. Again, it's all these small improvements. I know it's been a long time, and it will be a long time, so it feels as if, you know, depending on the nature of the illness, other people to be in hospital this long, you'd be thinking, my goodness, what's going wrong? But it's just the way it is with this particular patient. So that was a useful visit, partly because they had an assessment while I was there, and they were happy for me to listen in. So I was kind of another pair of ears, because you know what it's like when you're having an assessment with folks, you miss things, or you're thinking of the next question and you miss what's been said and that sort of thing. So it can be helpful to have two people so that you can check afterwards that you've understood things the same way. So that turned out to be very useful. I was fairly shattered when I got home, unsurprisingly. It was a long day, it was a fair bit of travelling, but it was a nice weekend, and it was a good visit as well. So all good stuff. So now I have 2 weeks when I don't have to do any funeral work, except make one phone call. I will have to do that at some point, but that doesn't have to be this week. So I have some things I'd like to do around home, and some crafting things I want to do, of course. At the moment I am swatching for the Penguono. Spoke about that last week. I've decided I'm going to do that with Aran weight equivalent yarn. This cone of grey, this much used cone of grey, my Ocean Shore that I think I was wearing last week, the one with the stripes that go 2 different directions, that was made with this. I made a sweater which was 2 strands of this plied with scraps, and I will be kind of sad when it's used up, but I do feel like I want to use it. So what I'm thinking of doing with the Penguono is holding this. This is probably a sort of light fingering 3-ply type weight. So I'm going to hold this with double knitting for the main part, which will give, I think, a kind of worsted Aran weight. And where I'm using scraps of finer yarn, I'll have more than one strand of this. So some parts will show a darker grey, or a more intense grey, and that will be where I'm holding it with finer yarns to try and get a relatively consistent weight. I'm not going for perfection, and the pattern is designed to use up scraps and to hold different yarns together, so the design isn't for beautifully even and tailored items, because that's not what it's about. But that's my plan for this. So I'm swatching at the moment. I'm also swatching on a fairly large size needle, even for that weight of yarn. So these are, I think, 6mm, and normally with an Aran weight I would expect to use a 4.5, so a couple of sizes bigger. So it'll be a slightly loose gauge, but as a lot of it's in garter stitch, you get that sort of greater row density, and also the thickness of the ridges. So so I think it will work well in garter stitch at this sort of gauge. But once I've done the swatch, if I don't like the way the fabric looks, then I can swatch in a different size and see what happens. That's the plan. So I am going to get this cracking at some point. I've got something that I would like to finish, which may take priority, but I kind of wanted to get swatching so that I can put the numbers into the spreadsheet I created last week and get cracking, basically. That's the plan. All good fun. So the red is just some acrylic double knitting weight that I've been given in the past, but it's the right sort of weight to use for the stash. And then I need to pull together the scraps that I'm going to use to make the garment. I'm not going to ply the grey with the yarns as I've done in the past, because it's going to be more random than that. It's just going to be, I take the next ball out of the scrap bag, and then depending on the weight of that, depends on how many strands of grey I hold with it. This is possibly going to end up looking like a dog's breakfast. We shall see. Crafting's an adventure, isn't it? Hello, lovelies. I'm catching a quiet moment. I'm not sure where the builders are, but they're not here making a noise, so I'm going to round things up here for today. I've swatched for the Penguono. This is not the colour that it will be, but I just wanted to get a rough idea of gauge to then put into my spreadsheet for the numbers. So that's all good. I've also been moving things around, so we haven't got a cupboard there anymore. I bought these boxes to store sweaters in my bedroom, and they did it very effectively, but I didn't really like the look of them. They were kind of sitting on top of a chest of drawers, and it just looked a little bit, didn't like it. So I thought what I'll do is I'll move the cupboard that was there into the bedroom, so that is now full of my sweaters. And yarn has gone in here instead, so bit of a swap around. There was also a little short, it used to be a bedside cabinet in the bedroom. That's what those boxes are sitting on. There are 3 of those, so a little bit of a move around, which is why I look like I'm all hot and bothered, because I am. What else am I up to? Pub quiz tonight. I will be taking my knitting, obviously. And then tomorrow, I don't think we've got anything planned, so that will be a whatever I fancy day. I like those. The weekend, hospital visiting on Sunday, and then next week more of the same. Meeting with friends, just pottering around and doing a lot of knitting and crochet, so what's not to like? I hope you're all okay. Hope you're all having a good week, whatever you do, and I hope that whatever you do brings you joy. That was almost a sentence, but you know what I mean. And take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week. And next week is also the month end, so I better do some recording. Cheers.